Hello there, my name is Artie, and quite a few years ago I used to watch some very interesting shows on kids TV. There's such bangers as Slightly Racist Mouse, Acid Trip, the TV show, Insane Man Bullies Teenagers, and Terrifying Numbers. Of course, all of these absolutely pale in comparison to one of the most utterly insane, terrifying, and mentally scarring shows of all, the horror anthology Grizzly Tales for Gruesome Kids. This show was, well, it was certainly something. Grizzly Tales for Gruesome Kids was an animated horror anthology show that warned naughty children of the consequences of their misdeeds. Now, you might be thinking, oh, that can't be that bad. It's just telling kids what might happen if they keep being little brats. And while I suppose you're right on some level, it is so much worse than that. Almost every episode of this show results in the naughty child getting, in some way, maimed, tortured, or killed. But I'm getting ahead of myself. First, let's have some context. One fateful day, a man named Jamie Ricks, on holiday in France, was struggling to make his 4-year-old son eat his dinner. Desperate, he concocted a tale to tell him about a supernatural being who would kidnap children who didn't eat their dinner nicely and turn them into lasagna. Naturally, the child was deeply disturbed by his father's story, and from that point onward would eat his dinner without hesitation. After scaring his poor child half to death, Jamie Ricks had an idea for a series of stories like this, which would scare children into behaving themselves, and in 1990, he released his debut novel Grizzly Tales for Gruesome Kids, a collection of 15 cautionary tales for young children, including stories like The Spaghetti Man, Glued to the Telly, and the one-tailed, two-footed, three-bellied, four-headed, five-fingered, six-chinned, seven-winged, eight-eyed, nine-nosed, ten-toothed monster. This book was apparently very good, and went on to win the 1990 Nestlé Smarties Book Prize for fiction aged 9 to 11. Its success later prompted Ricks to make a number of sequels, Ghostly Tales for Ghastly Kids, Fearsome Tales for Fiendish Kids, and more Grizzly Tales for Gruesome Kids, which were popular enough in and of themselves to convince ITV to approach Ricks in regards to a potential television adaptation of his work. He agreed, and thus the Grizzly Tales show was born, airing its first episode on the 4th of January 2000. Animated by Honeycomb Television, narrated by Nigel Planner, and airing on CITV, the show would go on to have 6 seasons consisting of 79 episodes, before being cancelled in 2006. Each of those 79 episodes featured a story adapted from Ricks's books, and each and every one was grim in their own way. Honestly, I still have no idea how some of these were allowed to be shown to children. Speaking of the episodes, the thing that really made the show stand out, to me at least, was the parts at the start and end of each episode. While the meat of each episode was a somewhat cheaply animated 2D video, stop-motion parts sandwiched it. So every episode you'd be introduced to the caretaker, not that one, of the Scream Screen Theatre, and his pet spider Spindleshanks, who would find himself brutally maimed each episode.
Test his reflexes. What the fuck? I was right.
He clarts his poor spider. The caretaker would introduce you to each story and then say goodbye before the credits, usually doing something insanely freaky as a farewell. Anyway, to investigate if this show was nearly as bad as I remember, I decided to grab a few friends and watch some episodes. One of these episodes was Dr. Moribundus, a name which the caretaker warns us is quite bad if you translate it to Latin. He said if you don't know what Dr. Moribundus means in Latin, don't call the doctor. Anyone know Latin?
A little bit. I know more.
A little bit, but I don't know what the f moribundus means.
Alright, let's Google translate this.
It's literally just dying.
That's so funny. Yeah,
Doctor
Doctor dying. The story follows Lorelei Lee, a serial skiver who always fakes illnesses to get off of school. Side note, she actually tries to get symptoms, like she stands in a bowl of ice and rubs grease on her face so she actually catches cold symptoms. Who does that? Anyway, one day she pretends to have rabies. Yes, literal rabies.
What is
She's
it?
dead.
Cried her mother.
Rabies.
Are you ill,
Oh,
Lorelei?
dear God.
Are you going to die?
Yes.
So her parents call in the doctor, who eats the froth.
Eat it.
He's gonna f***ing taste it, isn't he?
Ew!
So
Ew!
when did the film
Nom
start?
nom nom.
As you do, and realizes it's just toothpaste. He then prescribes Lorelei some kind of magical medicine, or at least you think it is. That night, there's a knock at the door, and none other than Dr. Dying himself appears to cure Lorelei of her fake illnesses. Is this going to be the big guy? Is this Dr. Morbius? Oh, no, short man.
Dr. Shortius.
He and his assistant, the night nurse, head upstairs to greet Lorelei, who is watching some weird surgery show. What is she watching?
F***ing Surgeon Simulator by Markiplier.
What is that? What is that guy grabbing?
Cat performs surgery.
He's just got like a ball of intestines or something.
Yeah, that's how your intestines normally are, right?
Uh-huh.
Right?
Despite her telling him to get off her lawn, Dr. Morbius comes in anyway and just gives Lorelei a bunch of random medicines. Leeches on the face, calming chili mustard, whatever that is, and to top it all off, a big ol' injection.
This is just for fun.
We actually don't get to see whatever Doc Mortis does to Lorelei, but when she wakes up, she's got a big ol' scar on her head.
She was in the pinkest of pinks, and for the first time in her life, was looking forward to going to school.
Oh, wow, look at
Lobotomy.
that.
Needles to say, she never feigned another day's illness again.
She's been f***ing lobotomized.
Yeah,
Bro
pretty
just
much.
did a lobotomy just to get her to be a teacher's pet.
Isn't that fun? That's just a taster of what this show is like, and it's already pretty terrifying for a target audience of under 10s. Personally, if I saw this episode as a child, I never would have pulled a sickie again. Anyway, let's move on to our next episode. The next episode is The Spaghetti Man. Yes, the same story that started it all. In this one, we follow Timothy, who is a little runt who won't eat his dinner.
I don't want that muck, shouted Timothy. It makes me want to be sick.
After continuing to misbehave at the dinner table, a supernatural entity breaks into his house and does whatever this is to him. Timmy's parents tell him that they just got a visit from the Spaghetti Man, who will continue to harass him if he doesn't eat his dinner nicely. The annoying little bugger that he is, though, Timothy doesn't listen and tries to do an epic prank on his mum, filling up the bathtub to show that he's
Never eating toast again.
but promptly gets kidnapped by the spaghetti nonce and taken to his pasta-making facility in Venice, where he's turned into lasagna. To finish the episode off, we get to see what his parents thought of his disappearance.
Meal times without Timothy were never the same again. They were quieter.
They just don't care.
Bro was looking around left and right. What do you mean he didn't notice?
Stayed at home and prepared their evening
Oh,
meal.
nah, bro.
Tonight, it's lasagna.
I knew it!
Heck called it. And as a final send-off, our mate the caretaker manages to grind his fingers off.
Whoops! I'm all fingers and thumbs today. Or rather, I'm not.
Fun times. Imagine watching that as like a under 10 child and seeing this kid get turned into lasagna. In 2006, though, disaster struck when Grizzly Tales for Gruesome Kids was cancelled after its 6th season. I mean, the show was already starting to drop off a bit, and it definitely had a good run over 6 years with 79 episodes and a number of awards, so, you know, maybe not the end of the world. Anyway, Grizzly Tales was completely gone, up until 2011 when Nicktoons UK started airing reruns of the show. It was later announced by the creators, Honeycomb Animations, that a brand new series was in the works, which would be airing on Nicktoons in May. They said that this new series would be reinvented for a modern audience, with even more twisted, dark stories to delight children everywhere. And, I mean, they definitely reinvented it. The first episode aired on the 2nd of May 2011, and had a similar but different formula. Rather than the caretaker of the Squeam Screen that we've come to know and love, the host of the show was the Night Night Porter, his half-brother, and the show itself was set in the hot hell darkness. Rather than the stop-motion animation for the start and end of the show featured in the original series, the new Grizzly Tales was 3D animated. This was a shame, for sure, but the 3D animation did still manage to keep a lot of the charm of the original. Oh, that's so... I hate how detailed that is, close up. It looks like the Fallout 1 and 2 talking heads. What didn't keep the charm, however, was the meat of the show. Rather than using the same assets as the original series, the new Grizzly Tales was cheaply animated in Adobe Flash with this frankly awful looking new art style that makes everyone look like they have a facial deformity.
Blood looks like he's from My Singing Monsters.
Ha! Look at the dad. Look at the dad. That ain't right. The only episode we watched of this season was The Rap Man, which we clicked on because it sounded like the Spaghetti Man. This time we follow Carlton, an ungrateful brat who doesn't say thank you for anything. To teach him a lesson, his parents get him the Rap Man, some kind of eldritch horror that will force him to say thanks. He also drops mildly threatening bars 24/7.
Cut me out and give me breath. I want to see your presence, and if I can't extract some thanks, expect some convalescence.
Convalescence? Anyone know what that means?
The gradual recovery of health and strength after illness of injury. Oh, he's gonna die.
Anyway, when Carlton gets a handkerchief for his birthday, this thing drops some more fire threats.
If all I get is grumpy grunts and sighs and sulky wailing, have no doubt, you little lout, it's you I shall be mailing.
Whoa,
Oh.
dude! He drops bars when he's threatening. And when he doesn't say thanks, Carlton gets wrapped.
I'm going to send your auntie a people parcel with you in.
Oh.
Oh.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! The Rat Man puts him in a parcel and sends him off to his aunt to say thanks in person with his extremely broken limbs. Dude, look at his arm. That's not the way an arm is supposed to go.
Look at his legs!
Oh, that's his leg? Thankfully, Carlton apparently learns his lesson and gets off otherwise scot-free. Which is lame. Come on, this is a boring ending. Yeah, no, the kids aren't supposed to apologize and say thank you. They're supposed to get, like, lobotomized or turned into lasagna. In conclusion, Grizzly Tales for Gruesome Kids is a very interesting show that I'm sure scarred a lot of kids when it aired on TV all those years ago, me included. Regardless, it's a cherished part of my childhood, and it was really fun to go back and watch some episodes with friends. Speaking of, if you like the clips scattered throughout the video, you can check out a full version releasing on the channel in about a week. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. If you've enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, all that jazz. Be sure to check out the full watch party video when it comes out, and I'll see you at some point in the future. Goodbye.